Welcome back to the page. It has definitely been a while since I've posted here on YouTube. This summer was just crazy busy and I didn't have as much time to post here as I would have liked, but I'm hoping that as the flower season is coming to an end, fall is arriving, I'll have a lot more time to share about all of the exciting things that happened this summer with you guys here. This summer I sold out my bouquet subscription, so that was really fun and exciting to navigate this year. I had a ton of successful pop-ups at some local coffee shops and bakeries that I've been collaborating with for a few seasons now. What else? A la carte wedding orders went out the door, and a couple of the couples chose to use some of the vases from this collection, which is really exciting, and it was just so cool to send those things out into the world. Some bulk and DIY bloom buckets went out the door for weddings. We finished the flower stand, which is maybe the most exciting thing this summer, and I will definitely share more about that here on YouTube at some point. It won't be like a DIY because you probably don't want to do it how we did it, but I'll at least show you how we built that thing. It turned out really cute and adorable, very whimsical. What else? Doubled the size of the flower field, so that just took a lot more maintenance and getting everything up and running and troubleshooting new irrigation. All of that was just new this season. So a very busy summer, and now finally things are starting to slow a little bit. A couple weeks ago, my friend Jessica from Little Fire Ceramics dropped off a brand new vase restock for me. So if you guys don't know, a couple years ago, Jessica and I collaborated and designed a handmade, handcrafted vase collection. It's called the Brew City Blooms Collection by Little Fire Ceramics. So every single vase is locally made and handmade by Jessica, and we worked together on all of the designs. The reason I chose Jessica over at Little Fire Ceramics is she just has a very clean, classic, kind of minimal style, but it really lets flowers shine when you're using them as a vase. Her glazes that she formulates are also just so beautiful. I'm actually using one of the vases as a mug right now, and this one is in a color called Butter. I don't know if you can see it from that angle. Don't worry, we'll get some good shots of these guys later. But this butter color is one of my all-time favorite colors. She has other really beautiful shades like this creamy off-white that's not quite ivory, but it's not a pure white. She has a beautiful blush that is actually the same blush as the Brew City Blooms color. So it was just a really good fit. We spent some time, oh gosh, about 2 years ago at this point, just working through some mock-ups. I wanted every single vase in the collection to be able to be used with a pin frog or chicken wire. So I brought in my favorite pin frog. We looked at a ton of stuff in her studio when she was here in Milwaukee, and we threw together a few designs. She then spent a few weeks to put together some mock-ups. I returned to the studio and we picked the final choices at that point. She then made the first order, and there the collection started. The first order was a good success. I sold a lot of them at pop-ups through my online flower shop, and then I started to figure out that I wanted some bigger shapes, some smaller shapes, some more classic shapes, and we added things to the collection from there. This most recent drop off from her includes one new vase that I haven't had in the past, so I'm excited to show you guys that. We'll kind of today, I think, start with just unboxing, getting everything laid out on the table in front of me so you can see the different sizes, shapes, and glazes. Then I will show you what's included with these when customers are purchasing them. Every single one comes with a pin frog, and some of the pin frogs are different, so I'll show you guys those. I'll show you guys kind of how we play around with these things with different flowers, and then finally I'll show you how I package them up really beautifully for customers. All of the vases are available for pickup here on the flower farm at my flower stand, and then I also ship them across the continental US. So shipping logistics with the website I use is always a bit of a challenge, and I'm looking into shipping options for outside of the continental US, but I'm just not quite there yet. I'm hoping during the off season, when I have a little bit more time to investigate it, I'll figure out some options. But for now, it's just the continental US. What else? Oh, the restock, what we're here for. So these guys are going to be restocked on my website on September 22nd. That's the first day of fall. This video is definitely going to be coming out after the restock, but there should still be plenty of stock available to shop if you're interested. They'll be available to purchase over on my website, brewcityblooms.org. So if you're liking them today and you want one for your own home, you can definitely head over to the website and peruse everything there. So let's go ahead, let's dive into our unboxing. I'm just gonna get everything laid out, take a peek at everything. I've taken a little peek at stuff here or there, or I've opened the boxes to get stuff out for wedding orders, but I haven't seen everything in here. So some of this will be my first time seeing it as well. So let's get started. See me over here and I'm not just terribly backlit, but now that the vases are laid out, I figured we could go through and just take a peek at the 4 different vases that are a part of the collection with this restock. Let's start with the big one and then we'll move to the smaller ones. This is the large compote vase over here. It's the largest size in the collection. It's a pretty good size. Can fit in the palm of my hand, so it's not massive, but you can make a really beautiful garden centerpiece with this. This vase I'll show you just in comparison to some of the others. So here it is next to the bloom compote. You can see it's definitely larger there. And then in comparison to the little baby petite compote, the size is just drastically different. This vessel comes with my favorite pin frog. I sell these on their own over on the website too, and some floral putty. So you just adhere your pin frog to the bottom of the vase and you can get to arranging. If you've never used a pin frog before, I like to call them flower arranging for dummies, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It just makes floral arranging incredibly simple. So you adhere this to the bottom of the vase with the putty that comes with it. You take your flower, you stick it into the pins of the frog, and then we'll see if you can see that. The flower is holding exactly where I placed it in the pins. I could take it out if I wanted to and readjust it at an angle, and you can see it's holding where I placed it as well. So very simple arranging. Again, if I had putty in this one, that's a little bit of what it might look like in the vase. The large compote comes in 3 colors. So again, these are all of Little Fire Ceramics formulated glazes. They're beautiful. This is creamy, so it's this beautiful creamy, just ever so slightly off-white. Butter, which is one of my favorites. I don't think anything will ever beat this color for me. And then the Brew City Blooms blush. And it's a little hard to see the difference between blush and creamy, but they are ever so slightly different. This has a very pinky ballet slipper hue to it, and this is more of a true creamy color. So those are the larges. Next up in the line, we have the Bloom Compotes, and I'm gonna get a little closer to show you these guys. Okay, so hopefully you can see. I don't know if this is the most flattering way for me to show these. Okay, so you can see here, they are shaped like little baby blooms. These guys are definitely smaller than the large compote. They have a little pedestal on the bottom as well that's very cute. I love these guys, and you saw this at the beginning of the video, as a little coffee mug in the off season when I don't have flowers available. Similar to every other vase in the collection, they have that little Brew City Blooms Collection stamp with my logo and little fire ceramics in it. And they just have that really cute scalloped edge. Jessica over at Little Fire Ceramics, she spins these on the wheel. Again, I'm not using probably the correct terminology, but she puts these on the wheel, makes them really round, and then she goes in and she adds in the scallop detail by hand afterwards. I just think it's really beautiful. This is the butter again. This is the blush. Those are the only two colors that the Bloom Compote vase comes in. So there's the Bloom. Before we move on to the next one, the Bloom Compote vase also comes with my favorite pin frog, so the larger pin frog. This was the first one we designed in the collection, and we designed it all around this pin frog so it fits perfectly in there. Again, you always get putty with that too. Now the next one is the brand new one, and this is the medium compote vase. If anyone has a better name, I'm here to hear it. But this was just a size that I felt was missing. These are really great when you use them in clusters on a long table, kind of like my dining room table here, along with bud vases to make a really beautiful tablescape. Or if you have a very small cut flower garden of your own and you're only getting a couple blooms at a time, you can just stick a couple stems in these and they're really beautiful. So this is the medium. It's somewhere in between the large, and I'll show you against the petite and the petite. So you can see it's definitely a medium size. This one also fits the larger. My favorite pin frog fits perfectly in there. This one comes in all three colors, so creamy, blush, and then last but not least, butter. So she's a cutie, and I'm excited to have this one. Now the very last one in the collection is the petite one, which you've seen in comparison a little bit so far. This guy is super tiny. These are super cute on a large tablescape, interspersed with larger arrangements or with bud vases. They're just really pretty and dainty. This comes with a different pin frog than the other two. So this comes with a petite pin frog. I'll get a little closer to show you guys. So this comes, hopefully you can see it, with this little tiny petite pin frog. And again, some putty. It adheres just to the bottom of that little vessel really nicely with a little dab of putty. And this one you can put, I mean, you could put 5 stems in it. You could also just put 1 stem in it, and it's really, really cute. I also use these in the off season for ice cream and for like ketchup or ranch dressing when I'm eating. So again, they're all microwave and dishwasher safe. They're made for eating. The glazes are safe to be eaten off of. She actually designs beautiful tableware over at Little Fire Ceramics. So the little petite one has a multitude of uses as well. Similar to the large and the medium compotes, the petite one comes in all 3 glazes, the blush, the butter, and the cream. So I think I'm gonna cut to just a little video that I actually shared earlier in the year where I show you guys how to make an arrangement out of daffodils in the large compote, just so you can kind of see functionally how I use this thing. And then we'll get to boxing these guys up really beautifully for customers as I have this restock coming, and I want to make sure they're ready for pickup and ready to ship. And in the bottom of this vessel, hopefully you can see, I have a pin frog. You simply take your stem, stick it in the pins, and it holds where you place it.
keeping the tall stems nice and tall. They don't really need to be cut much at this point. Drippy bits.
So a couple days has passed since I showed you guys the vases. The vase sale just launched this week, just a day or two ago. I got the first really big batch of orders sent out the door, and I was just really focused on getting them out, so I didn't do a lot of filming, but a couple more orders have trickled in since then, and I thought I would show you guys how I package these up for customers. Today we are going to be packaging up a little bloom vase order. This person ordered 4 different bloom vases, 2 in butter and 2 in blush. So I thought it would be a good opportunity just to show you how I package them up really beautifully, put some of my merchandising on there, and get them out the door for a customer. Let's get started. So a lot of what I'm about to show you guys, I normally do ahead of time, but I had so many orders come in, I ran out of boxes and I ran out of pre-packed vases. So I need to get my branding on a few more boxes, get some more pin frogs boxed up, and just get everything ready to go out the door. I use stamps for most of my branding here on the flower farm. This stamp I use on all of my bouquets. So this one goes on all of my bouquet wrapping. I also love to put it on larger boxes when I can, or big bags when I'm sending wrist corsages out the door in large quantities. And then the smaller one, hopefully you can see it, has just my little bottle logo that I drew. And I love to use this one on cards that I'll give out. Everyone gets a handwritten note when they order from me on the website. It also goes on my little bags for pop-ups. Just a really cute little guy. So we'll use both of these today. I use craft paper boxes. That's kind of the signature here. I use craft paper to wrap all of my bouquets. These bigger boxes are the boxes for the vases themselves. So I'm going to use the larger stamp, just rolling it on some ink there off camera. And I am going to stamp right on the top of that box. And you'll see when we fold it, that logo will be centered right on the top. We'll do a couple more. So now that the vase boxes are done, we have the pin frog boxes to do. They're essentially a mini version of that larger box, and I stamped these guys with the smaller stamp. So same thing, the part that I'm stamping will be the top of that pin frog box once I have these assembled. So we'll stamp enough for this order today at least. I'm just assembling the boxes from there. So now we're going to prepare the putty that goes with the pin frogs for each order. I use this brand of putty. I buy it in bulk and then I cut it down into smaller pieces that go in each individual pin frog box. So I cut it about to the length of this piece of parchment paper, stick it on, trying to be cautious to not get my fingers all over it. And I do them in little groups of 2. The pin frogs really only need 2 pieces of putty. And then I'll separate them in just a minute by cutting them down the middle. So there is our finished putty that will go in the pin frog box. So each pin frog box gets the putty put in it. I like to put that in the bottom, and then the pin frog goes in on top. So now for the vases. Each vase gets packed pretty tightly when I'm shipping. I put paper in the bottom of the box, and then I use paper to really snugly wrap each individual vase, and hopefully you can see it here. But I kind of put the paper oblong, put the vase in the middle, wrap it really snugly, and that gets tucked into the box. Once it's in the box, the pin frog sits really beautifully right in the middle of the vase. More paper goes in after that. Just making sure it's not going to rattle around in shipping. Each order gets 2 separate cards. One, and it's so tiny, hopefully you can see, is some Pin Frog 101 instructions. And the other is some information about the handmade vases, how to care for them, and where they are made. Into the box it goes. I try to reuse as much paper as I can. So I'm gonna pack the box pretty tightly with the same paper that Jessica over at Little Fire Ceramics used to pack up the vases when she brought them over to me. So we'll get this nice and padded up, get our vases in, and then get this guy out the door. Every customer gets their little letter. I'm just trying to cover up the name here. And then they also get a Brew City Blooms postcard with some flower care tips, some pictures of blooms from the farm, and of course this guy has our little logo on it. I am going to get this guy all taped up, packaged, posted, and then dropped off at the postal service, and out the door it goes.